DICE revealed a brand new event for Battlefield 2042. Call of Duty might be taking a major L, Blizzard got slammed for an Overwatch 2 paywall, and much more on Today in Gaming. Hey guys, Levelcap here. The Liquidators limited time event for Battlefield 2042 launches on October 11th. It'll run for 2 weeks and offers Tactical Conquest, an infantry-only variant of the classic mode. Week 1 will include 8v8 matches. Week 2 will be 16v16. The available maps include Erica Harbor, Breakaway, Caspian Border, Discarded, Renewal, and Stranded. Keen-eyed players that dabbled with the Portal editor may have noticed Tactical Conquest map layouts that were recently added as options. So while the official mode rotation may only last for 2 weeks, Portal servers will likely have access to it after the event concludes. The event includes new skins that are unlocked by earning ribbons. 100 ribbons will get you all 4 of the event's highest rarity items. You'll also get a free headgear and weapon skin as a login reward. As for how much value this brings to the game for players, it's tough to say. We're also expecting a significant update to coincide with the event. A previously leaked date suggests that 2042's 2.2 update is launching on the 10th. It's been pretty typical for 2042 to get patched a day before new content launches, so it's pretty likely that we'll also be getting the 2.2 update on the 10th with a bunch of bug fixes and balance changes. It's also likely that the orbital map rework will launch with this update, or at least soon after. We'll have to wait for the critical update 2.2 patch notes for confirmation. Unfortunately, the reveal trailer doesn't show any new weapons coming to the game. We know each major update for 2042 will unlock additional Portal weapons as vault weapons in All Out Warfare, but the trailer only highlights previously released weapons, that is, aside from the AKS-74U. It's been locked to Portal mode since launch, but appears in a section of the trailer set on Erica Harbor, so expect that as a potential new vault weapon when the next update for 2042 goes live. 2042 has had a massive gap of infantry-only or infantry-focused game modes for the base style of content. Instead, it's been relegated to the Portal side of Battlefield 2042, which hasn't exactly held up to most player standards in terms of offering TDM opportunities and decent server rotations in general, so these modes could be a nice offering for players looking for that infantry-only action. I'm looking forward to playing them, and I hope that DICE has some sort of more permanent plan for an infantry-only style game mode down the road. According to a Call of Duty rumor, it sounds like Sledgehammer Games is going to be revisiting Advanced Warfare in 2025. This rumor comes from leaker Ralph Valve. They claim that we're getting a direct sequel to Advanced Warfare instead of a follow-up to Vanguard, Sledgehammer's latest title. Advanced Warfare was responsible for adding Titanfall-style wall running and double jump mechanics to the franchise, and while it was a divisive addition at the time, things got ugly with Infinite Warfare and Black Ops games, adding these kinds of mechanics with even zanier stuff and hero-based abilities. Advanced Warfare also unleashed the infamous Press F to pay respects cemetery scene that spawned one of the most resilient memes ever. Recent Call of Duty games have been praised for their literal boots on the grounds gameplay and return to the franchise's more traditional gameplay since Sledgehammer shifted its focus, so it's tough to say if bringing back Advanced Warfare mechanics is the right move. As for why Sledgehammer is revisiting the 2016 title instead of making a sequel to Vanguard, Ralph claims that poor sales of the 2021 World War II themed game were a major factor. The next entry in the franchise will be a title produced by Treyarch in 2024. Activision aren't pushing a new game next year due to the merger with Xbox and other factors. Blizzard are removing the SMS verification requirement for Overwatch 2 following backlash from players. Many accuse the company of paywalling the game by forcing people to use its SMS Protect system as part of the login process, since the game is free to play. This applied to new and returning players alike. The system also blocks prepaid phones, making it impossible for millions of people to play the game unless they have an alternative number that they can use. The change goes live on Friday, but only applies to people that played Overwatch 1 2021 after June 2021. Everyone else will still need to use the SMS Protect system to get Overwatch 2. Despite the outrage over the situation, it's pretty standard for two-factor authentication to require a phone number for validation of codes. This is especially true with free-to-play titles since the cost of making a new account to download the game is, well, nothing. Using a phone number puts a price tag on a new account that detects cheaters and hackers. In Overwatch 2's case, the outrage has probably been made worse by the game's launch issues. Players attempting to log in are placed in a queue with tens of thousands of players. Crashes are also present that kick you out of the game, forcing you to log back in. Blizzard apologized for issues and also blames a DDoS attack for playing a role. That said, login queues and game crashes are par for the course when it comes to Blizzard launches. The Need for Speed Unbound trailer is getting rave reviews from fans. It features a new art style reminiscent of Into the Spider-Verse, where effects like burnouts, boosts, and light trails have animated effects. The character models feature a cel-shaded appearance as well, but beyond those stylistic embellishments, the rest of the game kind of leans into the typical photorealism seen in past titles. It's kind of a refreshing blend of styles that fans are reacting to with nearly universal praise. The comments on the video are filled with positive feedback. Unbound launches on December 2nd for the console and PC. Xbox's acquisition of Blizzard just took another step forward. Regulators approved the deal in Brazil. This is the second approval from international regulators following Saudi Arabia's approval last month. It's still awaiting a decision in the UK, and US lawmakers have also urged Congress to investigate the merger. Sony provided testimony to the Brazilian regulators, hoping to persuade them against approval. Their primary claim was that Xbox controlling multiple franchises like Call of Duty would violate anti-competition laws. With the franchise being arguably the biggest thing in gaming, Xbox deciding what platforms it's on could be a nightmare for competitors like Sony, Valve, Epic, and more. However, Brazil's regulators came to some other conclusions. Their final statement acknowledges Call of Duty becoming an Xbox exclusive would make fans choose to migrate from PlayStation to Xbox, but they feel the value of each platform is in the unique games and content that they offer. In their eyes, if PlayStation no longer had Call of Duty, Sony wouldn't suffer since they could fill the gap with competing titles. The regulators brought up Nintendo as an example of a competitor that doesn't have Call of Duty on its platform but still does well. It's an interesting ruling with lots of details on the perspectives, and of course Sony has plenty of their own exclusive titles. However, it's certainly not the ruling that Sony were hoping for. The Witcher and Cyberpunk developer CD Projekt Red laid out what they'll be working on for the next 10 years. They announced 6 new games set in both franchises, a new mainline Witcher title with 2 direct sequels, 2 Witcher spin-offs, a Cyberpunk 2077 sequel, and an original 3rd franchise currently in the concept phase. There's no ETA on any of the individual projects, but it seems like the Witcher games are closer to launch than the Cyberpunk sequel or new franchise. Now, announcing this many projects so early is pretty unheard of for the gaming industry. It seems like an effort by CD Projekt Red to kind of clear their name following Cyberpunk's disastrous launch. According to industry insiders like Tyler McVicker, several factors contributed to an overhaul of the company's management and culture this year. The biggest factor was public scrutiny of their internal outcry about the conditions required to get Cyberpunk shipped. Reports from McVicker and other media outlets highlighted a lack of oversight from management, extensive crunch, and executives refusing to delay the game when confronted by employees who knew it wasn't ready. CD Projekt Red have allegedly adopted new development and workplace policies to prevent these kinds of issues from happening again with future projects. Laying out their long-term plans like this seems like the studio confirming this shift in culture is real and that they're working on a clear plan to avoid mismanagement in the future. Before we get to our next story, I just wanted to say thanks for tuning in. If any of these stories stood out to you today, let us know in the comments. We're always excited to hear what interests you, and as always, don't forget to subscribe and or become a channel member to help us out. Star Citizen's latest monthly report was packed with info about upcoming features and content. Progress made on the Drake Corsair spaceship getting it ready for launch is nearly complete, with the finishing touches currently being deployed. The Argo SRV, basically the tugboat of space, has almost finished gray box development. A full pass on the Hull C, which is a massive cargo ship, also wrapped up. Resource management on the Hammerhead is continuing with a new gravity system that's being implemented internally. When this system system launches, it'll give actual multi-crew functionality to larger ships like managing ship power, dealing with combat damage, and more. The landing zone transit system was also overhauled to ensure smoother functionality when persistent entity streaming launches. Basically, if somebody leaves a water bottle on a train, it won't break the train. One hopes, anyway. Salvage Tier 0 progress is still ongoing with stuff like ship balancing, the cargo refractor getting additional teams supporting it, and much more. New features like handcuffs are in development for FPS combat situations. The contract manager rework is finally underway to make managing missions and bounties more robust. Pyro's landing zones, orbital stations, and general locations are getting a ton of additional work like lighting, environmental art, general development, and new buildings. Finally, new character customization options based on head scans of 20 female models are currently being processed by the art team and will be rigged soon. If you're looking for more big Star Citizen reveals, watch my video recap on what to expect at CitizenCon this Saturday. There's a lot to look forward to, like more pyro content, potentially a new look at Squadron 42, a rework of ship flight mechanics, and much more. You'll find that video here, and don't forget to tune in on Saturday morning, 8 a.m. PT for a full live stream event on my channel. We'll be watching it live, talking about it. I hope to see many of you guys there. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. This is Level Cap, signing off.